Happy Thursday. Hopefully everyone's having an awesome day. Man, this story, when I first read it, had bad optics, and now it even has worse optics. That's right, I'm talking about Uvalde. For those that don't know what happened in Uvalde last year, there was a shooting that happened at one of their schools. A terrible day for Texas, terrible day for America, and terrible day for pro Second Amendment rights activists. Because unfortunately, those things happen, and it's really hard to counter some of the counter arguments when it talks about school shootings. But this story is from CNN.com. Original title was Uvalde. Actually, does it even says it? No, but it says it right here. Was that Uvalde hires officer that was on scene of the tragic day. Now the title is Uvalde School District fires officer after CNN identifies her as a trooper under investigation for her response to massacre. Now the question is, regardless if this was bad optics, did she have the merit to become a police officer in the school district? I mean, unfortunately, I know a lot of people don't like the fact and how they responded. There's definitely open to criticisms. And there is that multi-billion-dollar, $1 million class action lawsuit against the school district, the school police department, the DPS, I believe the gun owner, the gun manufacturer. But this isn't in this response. According to this, Uvalde Consolidated Independent School District fired a newly hired school officer on Thursday after CNN identified her as one of the officers under investigations for her actions during the Uvalde school massacre in May. Chrisman Alvialdo is one of the state troopers who arrived at Robb Elementaries within 2 minutes of the gunman entering the school and opened fire last May. 2 minutes is a long time. She is seen in her Texas Department Public Safety uniform, handgun drawn outside the school building in Uvalde, and then briefly in the hallway on body camera footage from another law enforcement. Later, she can be heard on body camera footage talking to fellow officers when asked if she had children on that school day. Responded, if my son had been there, I would not been outside. Promise you that. Not really a good look, but his optics, I get it. Elizondo was one of the first of the 91 DPS officers to arrive, one of 376 total law enforcement personnel who went to the school where the shooter left for 77 minutes with dead and dying traumatic victims before he was stopped. The response, but yeah, we know this. The school police chief was fired and is now 7 DPS officers from being investigated for what they did or did not do. CNN snitched, uncovered the clues that Alonso was one of those officers being investigated. A source close to the investigations confirmed that to CNN. She no longer works for the DPS, and during the summer she was hired as a police officer for the Uvalde Consolidated Independent School District, where her role is to protect some of the very same children who survived the Robb Elementary massacre. I know they want to say shooting, but I'm going to call it a massacre. Elizondo declined to speak with CNN in person, on the phone, or by direct message. Why would she want to talk to you? Following the CNN report, the school district issued a statement announcing her termination effective Thursday. We're deeply distressed by the information that was disclosed yesterday, even concerning one of our recent hire employees, Christian Elizondo. The statement from the district said, we sincerely apologize to the victim's family and the greater Uvalde community for the pain that this revelation has caused. Ms. Elizondo's statement in the audio is not consistent with the district's expectations. I mean, is that really what she's getting fired for? Is she really getting fired for this comment? Is she really getting fired for this comment? Really? I don't agree with that. Don't really agree with that. I mean, you should have known. Should never have offered the job in the first place. But I guess that's their out. And I know Texas is a right to work state. Regarding the remaining UCISD Police Department employees, we welcome to make the personal decisions based on verifiable information and independent investigations underway to evaluate the actions of the current officers on May 24th, 2022. Additionally, we are awaiting the results of management and organizational review of the police department and will aid the district in taking informed actions to further ensure the safety and security of our schools. In the statement added, how about making sure you have doors that locked? However, Uvalde School District Police were informed as early as July 28th that Alvarado was subject to investigation by the Department Officer of Inspector General for actions inconsistent with the training and department requirements according to the documents obtained by CNN and public records requests. It is not clear from the letter which actions were subject to investigations. Of course, the parents recognized her. Let's see here. According to one, I don't know if this actually is going to be into it, but she actually, here we go. Let's see here. Elizabeth runs with other officers to the eastern end of the building. Its house connected to classrooms 111 and 112. Soon, the responding officer are told that the shooter is contained in the room of the west side. After that, there's play outs on recording that more than 1 hour of confusion, delay, which is unacceptable in my opinion. That is criticism I do have towards everyone involved. It seems like it was a multi-organizational effort that took place. There was Border Patrol, DPS, local police, local sheriff, and school police. And they weren't all communicating. And of course, you have that police chief that wasn't acting as police chief and was not part of command whatsoever. So there's definitely a lot of criticisms and a lot of faults that happened in result of this monster doing this monster activity, which is about 99% responsible for that day. Because without him, these other actions wouldn't have gone into play. The catalog of errors have become part of Uvalde strategy. Elizondo walked inside the building briefly, but mostly stood outside as officers prepared for what became the final breach. She offered to help a colleague and went to gather supplies for him. She was away from the school when the gunman was shot and killed. Within moments, the body camera recording shows the hallway where so many had stood became the scene of carnage as officers got students out of the classroom and assessed their injuries. Elizondo was soon there, urging students to go if they were able to, and not to look at their injuries or the blood on the floor. She comforted one employee as an officer checked his wounds, telling him time again and again that she was there with him and that he would be okay, and his parents would soon be told. Footage shows that she traveled to the hospital in a school bus with students who were shot and traumatized, again helping to take care of them. So, optically speaking, this was a bad move and keeps on getting worse from the police department. She should never have been hired in the first place when it comes to the bad optics, but it sounds like she has the merit to be an officer. And of course, we got the DPS director, Colonel Stephen McCraw, which he handled the situation poorly. He was quick to throw officers under his command under the bus. I don't know how soon he got there, if he was speaking from Austin or on scene, but he quickly threw his fellow law enforcement under the bus as quickly as possible. I don't know why. I think that's something that should have waited, but he just pretty much called them out, which I don't necessarily agree with, but that's just my humble opinion. It said in August, every one of our officers will undergo scrutiny by the DEA in an internal investigation Just because they didn't violate the law doesn't mean that they acted appropriately based on our policy. 2 weeks later, official notes of the meeting showed McCraw telling captains no one's losing their jobs. McCraw told CNN that he's been misquoted, and in minutes vowed no one gets a pass. He said that he would release all the information when he could, but the local district attorney has asked him not to do so until criminal investigations are complete, a process that he acknowledged could take years. 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 It shouldn't take years. It should take 6 months to a year tops. It shouldn't take years, in my humble opinion. Prosecutor Christina Mitchell Busby will charge anyone who committed a crime at Robb Elementary, including law enforcement officers, she said. Assuming that they committed a crime. I mean, they were responding to a crime. You should also, if you want to go with the law enforcement, you should also go to the police, not the police department, but the principal for not making sure maintenance was done, or making sure maintenance was done so they could lock that door. This monster was able to get in because of a faulty lock on a door. It could have saved lives. CNN reached out to the Department of Public Safety, which declined to comment on the story. A coalition of news organizations, including CNN, is suing the DPS for records relating to the investigations that have been withheld from the media and the public. I'm of two minds here. I don't think we as the public should get everything, but I'm also on the minds that the law enforcement and on the state level, not the federal level, but on the state level, unless it's dealing with the National Guard, which is the local military, shouldn't be keeping secrets. So I'm of two minds here. I do think that they're going to release the information. I think media and the public are getting a little impatient because they want to know every detail. They want to be an investigator saying this is where the cops screwed up and where they should be charged, or this is where they get a pass because of XYZ. I'm just here to know what the truth is, to be honest. So far, the only person who have lost their job of the response to the shooting has been the school police, Pedro Pete Andrando, who was fired from the school board in August. Andro became the figurehead of a failed response he said he did not consider himself a incident commander, but he was the police chief. He may not have been the commander, but he was the commander of everybody that day, and he failed to lead. And has called to be reinstated. No, you should just resign in shame, and you should resign from the city council. I don't know if you were still part of the city council, but you were elected to be the city council, and you should have resigned from that position too. You have failed the people of Uvalde, and you should not be in any position of authority and power, in my humble opinion. And this pretty much talks to how much she earns. Base salary is about $60K per year. At 12%, she joined the department in 2018. Her new salary is not known, but a job posting for similar roles has a lower salary range from 41 to 60. Posting lists mental, physical demands of the position, including the ability to effectively deal with personal danger, which may include sudden exposure to armed persons under intense, threatening conditions. On May 24th, she rode the school bus back to Robb Elementary from the hospital and told another officer, nothing could prepare you for what they brought out. It was horrible. Once again, I agree with this statement. Unfortunately, a massacre of this scale, you can't prepare for it. You could be on hundreds of calls, and nothing's going to prepare for you for the bloody truth of the bloody bodies of kids with their futures being stolen by a monster. I think this police department is a disgrace. Now, whether or not meritly she could hold the position, the optics were not in her favor, and then should never have been hired in the first place based off of optics. And the fact that they got called out on it and then terminated her shows that the Uvalde School District does not have the best interests of the school in hand because I don't know if they were trying to pull a fast one or not, but the optics is not on the Uvalde School District side on this. They made a worse situation even worse and compounding it by hiring her. Like I said, I don't know her. I don't know her personal story. I don't know if she has the merits to be an officer for the school district. That's not up to me to make that decision, but the fact that they hired her gives bad optics. So I don't know if it's bad optics versus merit debate. If she has the merit, then she should have kept her job, and the school district should have said that while she was there, she helped kids escape and get them the medical treatment that they needed if they were injured, and called it a day and not kowtow to the people in this matter. Because this is pretty much a let's screw everyone who was involved. Let's try to blame anybody that we can. We want mob justice. And unfortunately, mob justice is not real justice. It's just a lynching, whether it's a job lynching, political lynching, or even ruining someone's career before they even have a chance. That is my opinion. I know I'm kind of all over the place with my opinion on this one because it's such a terrible, tragic thing that happened on that day. And definitely there's need to be people in law enforcement that should be held accountable. I don't know what her exact role was with the DPS that day. I do know it was a very chaotic, and it should never have been that chaotic to begin with. There should have been procedures in place whenever there's multi-agencies involved to make sure that there was a series of chain of commands that are followed, series of processes that must be met, and it seems like that was a afterthought with the multi-agencies in play. That being said, that is my video for today. Leave a comment down below on what your thoughts are. Did she deserve to be fired, or should they have kept them and stuck with the decision that they made? Should she have been hired in the first place, or should she have been not hired in the first place? I'm of the opinion that she should never have been hired in the first place, but she should never have also been fired once that decision was made to hire her, unless there's further evidence to back up the firing. With that being said, smash the like and subscribe button on any and all platforms, or just the platform that you're currently watching. But most importantly, have yourself a wonderful day, morning, or evening.